Okay, so in section 8 and section 9, we get back to the whole Oliver Cowdery translation thingamabob. And in section 9, something kind of confuzzling happens, where basically, in verse 1 it says, "Behold, I say unto you, my son, that because you did not translate according to that which you desired of me, and did commence again to write for my servant Joseph Smith Jr., even so I would that you should continue until you have finished this record which I have entrusted unto him." Okay, so when you continue to read this chapter, it can come across in a really wrong way, because what basically happens is God gives Oliver Cowdery the ability to translate, but then Oliver Cowdery doesn't use it. So then God says, okay, now I want you to be a scribe because you didn't use it, and now I want you to finish. And some people, even myself at first, I was like, whoa, you're just going to take away, like we just had a whole conversation about how if we ask God for our desires, he's going to give it to us, and now you're taking it away? Like, what? But there's a purpose. There's a lesson in everything. And so he just says, and I think overall, I think it's to teach Oliver Cowdery some patience. Like, I don't know all of God's purposes. But from my perspective, even it says in verse 3, "Be patient, my son, for it is wisdom in me." And then also verse 2, going back just a little bit, he tells him, like, this isn't a permanent thing. He says, "And then behold, other records have I, that I will give unto you power that you may assist to translate." So I think what happens, Oliver Cowdery comes to him, he says, "I have this desire to translate," and God says, "Okay, I'll give it to you." And then Oliver Cowdery doesn't use it and continues to be a scribe, and God says, "Okay, well, now I'm going to teach you a little bit of a lesson here. I'm going to teach you some patience, because maybe you're lacking some, and you could probably use a lesson." And he says, "Okay, you went back to being a scribe, so now I'm going to have you be a scribe. Well, Joseph Smith translate the Book of Mormon, but I have something else for you in store." Now, I just want to talk about this for a second, because I think we can all relate to this, of having God say, "I have something for you in the future. Just wait, just be patient." Because it's very easy to just imagine, like, well, what if it doesn't happen? What if God doesn't, like, let this happen, or whatever? What if God takes away his ability to translate the books later? Like, and so he's teaching Oliver Cowdery lesson in patience and in waiting and trusting God, and that he will have his chance to translate later. And because of that, he's also teaching us a lesson. And for me, in the realest example for me of this is my ability, not ability, but me having a relationship, because like right now I'm single. And for me, I think I've had like some like chances and things like that, but like this, they were kind of taken away, but for good reasons. Like, I'm not at all mad at God. I'm very grateful that like those things got taken away, because like I'm so much better for it. And now I'm just patiently waiting for the day that he does give me like my own records to translate, if we're following this like whole metaphorical, whatever you want to call it, type, whatever. And so the lesson from that is that sometimes God is going to give us stuff, but then kind of take it away, but not really, just teach us some patience. But the thing I really want to focus on is actually verse 8. But I wanted to give you some background in that, because you could read that and be like, we just had a whole conversation about God giving us our desires, and now he's taking them away, and should I even ask God for my desires, because he's just going to take them away anyway? And that's not really the case. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes it does, but only to teach us a lesson and to teach us a lot of things. So if you maybe do get a desire taken away, just trust that it's just trust in the bigger picture that God is saying. But the verse I want to focus on is verse 8, and it says, "But behold, I say unto you that you must study it out in your mind. Then you must ask me if it be right. And if it is right, I will cause that your bosom shall burn within you. Therefore you shall feel that it is right." And I love this verse because I read it yesterday, and I was not going through something per se, but I was in the middle of trying to make a really hard decision. And this just brought me a lot of comfort, because I was really confused, and I was like, I don't know what to do, and I've been given answers, but I've been given other answers that are contrary to the answers that I found, and I don't know what to do. And I read this, and I was like, okay, I just need to study it out. I just need to think of some possibilities, just like study all the things, and then bring it to God, and he will tell me what is right. And I think I figured it out. I'm still a little iffy. Like, I don't know. I'm still working on it. But for whatever it is that you're trying to figure out right now in your life, or maybe whatever in the future, I love this lesson because it really teaches us that whatever questions we have, whatever we're trying to figure out, we just take some time to just kind of study it out in our minds. Just think through the possibilities, do some research, and then bring it to God. He will help us. And I love this description of, I will cause that your bosom shall burn within you. Therefore you shall feel that it is right. And I love that feeling because, to give you some backstory, I had a decision to make this past weekend. And when I looked at it, I had two options. And whenever I thought about either one, I didn't feel peace. I was back and forth, and I was like, neither of these options just feel right. And I'm like, but maybe I can make this one feel right. Like, I was like, maybe it'll be okay once I actually make the decision, and then maybe it'll be okay. But then I discovered yesterday that there's actually a secret door number 3 that I think I'm going to open and walk through that one. And that one has brought me a lot more peace, which is why I think I'm going to take that one. And so this part I love because I think so often we get confused of like, okay, well, I asked God and I don't know if it's right and I haven't received an answer. And the thing is, like, maybe you did receive an answer, but you just didn't know how that answer fell and you didn't understand how to receive that answer. And so not only am I inviting you today to study things out and to ask Him, but I'm also inviting you to just focus on what happens when you ask. How does God give you that answer, and how does it make you feel when you're trying to make a decision? Because there's a very important lesson to be learned here, because we always have decisions to make in life, and this is a very important verse about making decisions. So whatever decision you have to make today, or maybe you're not making a decision today, but maybe you have to make a decision tomorrow or next week, whatever it is, just keep this verse in mind because it'll really help you when you make decisions. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.